Hey there, this is going to be a tutorial on how to kill Phantom Ganon without playing tennis. Tennis is usually the way to actually stun the boss, which enables you to start doing some damage. But there's also an animation in which the spear is spinning in front of the boss, and during that animation, it's actually vulnerable. So we're going to use our sword and get the stun this way. So let's just watch it one time in real time. So first of all, we get it out of the horse, then get a stun, a little bit of damage, prepare for another stun, and this will be enough damage to actually kill it. Let's rewatch this and explain a little bit more what is happening. So the first very important thing is your position. A very classic mistake that I see is people going all the way up to the fence. Going all the way up to the fence puts you into a difficult position later on because your stabs are going to recoil you, and that means that the boss is going to be further behind the fence. So actually, you getting recoiled by your stabs is going to be more dangerous if you started that whole thing while being too far forward, and you're also making the window for you stunning the boss smaller. So what I would recommend is to try to have Link's toes not too far from that gray line that you can see around the fence, but do not step on the gray line. Another thing is you want to consider that Link is left-handed. My camera is mirrored, so yeah, left-handed. So it's going to slash like this, which means that if I want my sword to be in the middle of the painting, then I want Link to be slightly off center to the right. So as you can see in this position, I am a little bit before, and here I am angling slightly to the right to make sure I'm not completely in the middle, but my left shoulder is in the middle. So that is the first few cues that we have. So the first arrow doesn't really matter. You could put it very late. It's just getting it out of the horse. Then the boss is going to go back into the painting and then get out. We want to be careful when it comes out. When it comes out, it will still have the same stance as being on the horse, which means legs and especially knees really spread out and knees quite up. And then it's going to transition into a stance of normal standing up. We want to be careful of that little transition. So watch the legs, see how knees are very spread out, knees are quite up, almost to the height of the hips, and slowly are getting back together. We want to look at this thing happening, and just before it is back to a normal position, release the bow button so that it shoots the arrow. As soon as we do this, we're going to be holding up. This is the 72 that you see on the bottom. I am holding up, and I'm going to start mashing B, which will perform my first stun. As you can see, I am stunning the boss while it's still behind the fence. So this means this was an early stun. It is not the base case scenario. You would prefer to stun it a little bit like in the middle of the fence, or even better, slightly outside. Okay, but we're going to go with this. During that first slash, I'm being careful, and around the end of the slash, I want to target, so then I can mash A, or you could time it, and do a jump slash. So that is going to store jump slash damage for the next part. During that jump slash, you could start holding shield because your next attack is going to be a crouch stab. And then as soon as the stab goes out, you want to be careful to release shield. Same kind of idea as the one cycle on Goma. You want to release the shield to make sure that Link will be available as soon as possible. Because after this, we want to pull the bow. If at the end of the stab, I am still holding shield, then Link will be in a crouch stance and will not be able to pull the bow. I'm going to lose time, and this is going to put me off cycle. I don't want this to happen. So I stab, and I try to release shield sort of early. This is a bad example because I release it quite late, but I'm still in the recoil. So here, I'm going to pull the bow, and I'm going to hold the button of the bow because I want to charge an arrow. My next cue, if I've done the rest within cycle, my next cue is going to be when the animation of Link having the arrow ready is done. So basically when Link stops moving, I want to shoot that arrow and I'm going back into the exact same pattern. All right? So the arrow is getting ready. And here it is ready. And as soon as it's ready, you can see that me holding up already is going to make the camera go down. So I want to react to the fact that the bow is ready. Don't shoot too early, otherwise you will be slashing. But if you slash without the boss being in the spear animation, then nothing will happen. So now I'm releasing, and just as it goes up, we get that little animation of the spear. We're slashing forward again without target. Then targeting during the slash, jump slashing, and then ready for a stab. If everything has gone perfect here, I don't need to pull the bow again because there's only one more stab I need to put. But this first stab is going to recoil me from the fence. So I would recommend that for the very last stab, the one that you are 100% sure that it's going to go for the kill, step forward. You have plenty of time. So just take that security, step forward. I've seen it too often. Try to stab a second time and it just doesn't reach, and it feels really sad because you've done the hardest part at this point. So just take your time. Look how much I'm going forward. And then get that last stab that is going to go for the kill. There's also an interesting edge case, which is the case in which Phantom Ganon is going to pop out of this very painting. This very painting is the one that is in front of the gate, and the gate has a little bit of a particularity, which is if you try to shoot through what you see as this blue panel, it will not go through. It's considered basically as a wall, which is not the case for every single other blue panel. You can just shoot completely through. So, sorry. In the case that you are trying to do this one cycle here, the only thing that you have to do is get the stun, the first one, not the stun with the slash, but the one to get it out of the horse. You have to get it over that panel. This is the only change you have to do. So just wait for the horse to get really out of the painting, then shoot. And once this is done, you can go back to just doing the normal stuff. What you actually get as the stun with the sword does not require the arrow to go into the direction of the boss, does not need the arrow to connect with the boss. You could shoot in very different places and you will still get the spear spinning animation, which enables you to try and go for a hit with the sword. So remember, if you have Phantom Ganon coming out of this painting in front of the entrance, which has those spikes, then what you need to focus on is getting to position, aim really high up, and then get it out of the horse very late, and then you're back into your normal situation. Now, this is going to be very music based. Your first few tries, it's probably going to feel rushy. Let's look at it again. I know this helps to just look at it a few times, but it might feel very fast. It is not that fast. Once your hands are used to those inputs, which will take a little bit, this is very much of a piano trick. Once your hands are used to it, you will have to legit start slowing down because you will be a little too fast. So what you want to focus on is just trying to get that little music rhythm. Once you have the input cleans, try to get into that music. Maybe do a clip of someone doing it clean and just have it going again and again. Just get into that music and then loop some tries. Try to reproduce that music. Once you have this kind of comfort, you will be able to back up situations where you do not connect a few hits. It can happen that your first jump slash doesn't connect, and then your next stab also does not connect. But it doesn't mean that you cannot continue. Your jump slash and your stab, if you do them in the same music cycle that you are used to, then you can just pull the bow and go for another stun. And on this next stun, you can just go jump slash, stab, pull the bow again instead of going for the kill, and you'll get another stun. You can get as many stuns as you need. You could literally miss all of your damage hits. It doesn't really matter. You can just stun it over and over and over. It takes a lot of experience, but once you have that, you will be able to back up even in the worst situation, and you will never have to play tennis again with Phantom Ganon, which is honestly a great thing. It brings a lot of consistency into this fight, and it's also a little bit faster. Let's be honest, it looks really cool. Have a really good time doing this. I really like this piano trick. It's a fun strat to do, fun to practice, really satisfying to pull out. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And on this, I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.